What's happening, guys? How's it going? So we're headed out to Sipsey Wilderness again. Got the long work week done, headed for a nice weekend backpacking trip. I plan on getting some good training for my future Pinhoti Trail thru-hike. Actually have some exciting news about that I'll be updating you guys on here in just a little while. But we're headed to the trailhead now. I have to run by the house and change out of my work clothes, but then we'll get back on the trail, so we'll catch you guys at the trailhead. So it seems we have gotten ourselves into a little night hiking situation, but that's all right. We're gonna hike in about 5 miles and find a campsite and set up camp for the night. Good morning, everyone. So I ended up getting to camp pretty late last night, so I just set everything up and didn't worry about recording. But I ended up setting up camp about 7:30 or so, about 4 miles in. Ran into some other campers. I got my oatmeal and my coffee made. I'm gonna eat and then I'm gonna go and break down camp, and then we're gonna start crushing some miles. I plan on doing at least 20 miles today, and then add another 5 to 7 tomorrow, because I want to make it a 30-mile weekend. It was a cold night last night, so whenever I got to camp, I was still full from having ate earlier in the day. So I decided I was just going to eat some granola to hold me through the night and not eat supper. And that was a big mistake, because I've been down in 30 degrees and been perfectly fine with this exact same setup, but last night didn't even freeze, and I was freezing last night, and I think it's all because of the fact that I just didn't eat. And so, word of advice: eat food before bed, especially when it's cold. So I don't think I ever actually said the reason for this trip and why I want to do a 30-mile weekend and hike a 20-mile day. So I'm training for a complete thru-hike of the Pinhoti Trail. I don't have a date set for that yet, but in order to train more for that, I'm going to go do some sections here in a few weeks, and I'm out now training for that. I plan on going to go do sections 3 through 6 of the Pinhoti Trail, about, I think it was like 56 miles or something like that. I'm gonna go do it in like 4 days, so I won't even actually be doing any 20-mile days on that trip, but it's good training anyway. And best way to train for backpacking is to go backpacking. So I'm out doing this Sipsey perimeter hike, and I'm just hiking to all the different trailheads to get into Sipsey Wilderness, doing a complete perimeter hike of the area. I don't actually know the mileage, so we'll see where I end up. It may end up being more than 30 or less. If it's less and I have the time, then I'm still gonna hike more trails to hit 30 miles. But we'll see how it goes. Just a slow and steady uphill battle. Just gotta love these beautiful, beautiful hollers. Such a beautiful area. Just a gorgeous, gorgeous place. As you can see, there are a lot of blowdowns, and I'm just having to follow a leaf trail through the woods. I ran into another hiker. He's doing the same perimeter trail that I am, and he told me that it is a 30-mile loop, so that's awesome, the fact that it's a 30-mile loop. So I can just do exactly what I came to do, and it works out. Because I didn't measure or anything. I was just like, I want to do 30 miles, and that looks like a long way, so let's do that loop. But he said part of the trail that I'm coming up on is quite bushwhacky. So we'll see how that goes. On the map, it's very squiggly, looks like a bunch of switchbacks or something. But if they are switchbacks, they're short switchbacks. So we'll see how that goes, and I'll show you guys whenever we get up here. But it's good to see that I'm not the only person out here. He said that 2 other hikers had came through as well. One going the same direction I am and one coming the other way. And so he said I should have a leaf trail to follow, hopefully. Hopefully it doesn't get too disturbed and I can see where I'm going. But we'll see you guys on down the trail. Just a beautiful forest corridor to walk down. That's what I get. I was trying to take a video straight in a mud puddle. At least it is a beautiful area to have a soaked foot in. I apologize ahead of time for any audio issues that may show up in the video, which I don't have a microphone, so the audio is kind of shit anyway. But I just realized whenever I swap cameras and I'm talking, it glitches out the microphone and doesn't record. But I will have to account for that from now on, and apologize if there's any audio issues. Just a gorgeous day and gorgeous trails. God, I love it so much. I thought I was gonna have to dry camp tonight, which would suck because I don't have my Knock Vecto. It is on the way. I just ordered it. It should be here Monday when I get back. But that's a 2-liter water bag, and it takes me about 2 liters at camp to cook supper and breakfast and wash dishes and things like that, plus my water, like for drinking. So about 4 liters for dry camp, and that'll be having some drinking water left over, of course. But looks like I'm gonna cover the distance today, so I'm just gonna be able to pick me out a nice campsite along the creek tonight. So I shouldn't have to dry camp tonight as long as I make the distance. But we'll see how it goes. Well, I had a slight wrong turn. Well, not really a wrong turn. I missed a turn. So I ended up walking all the way out to the Brazil trailhead. But that's alright because more mileage, bonus miles. And then also I got to actually see the Brazil trailhead for the first time. And the parking area, that's really nice. It's a big parking area. A lot of vehicles can park there because at the Randolph trailhead there's not a lot of parking area. And then the Thompson trailhead is along a dirt road, so there's a few little parking spots on the side, but most of the time people just pull up along the side of the road, so that's kind of sketch. But Brazil looks really nice, so I may end up having to set out here one day. Man, it's beautiful trails. But now I'm heading back to go catch my turn and continue my journey. Another use for the buff. Had to shed the beanie so I can use buff to hold the hair back so it doesn't fall around and get in my face. But I have found the aforementioned bushwhacky section, and he wasn't lying. You really got to read the leaf litter to be able to make your way around here. It's crazy, but it's a beautiful way. Very natural. I really do like it. I really enjoy it. It's a very off the beaten path type trail. Also a little mileage update for you. We're 7.5 miles in. and it's not even 11 o'clock. We're gonna stop for lunch here in about an hour or so though. So that should put us around 10 miles at lunchtime, so be right on track. Just hiking down into this ravine, down towards the creek, coming up off of that ridge line. And it is just gorgeous when you're in these big descents. The elevation change and the views you get, it's so beautiful. These descents are some of my favorite areas to go through. Especially during the fall, when you can see all the leaves are on the ground and you can actually see all the hills and rolls and everything. It's a gorgeous world we live in, ain't it, y'all? Just like it took my whole leg out. I went knee deep into that stump hole. But all is well. So on to the trail. Don't fall, because that's awful steep. Right earlier, when I was saying this section is just a bunch of switchbacks, it is. Kind of rough section of trail, to be honest. A lot of elevation change, because you go down one side of the switchback and right back up the other. Down and back, and down and back, and down and back. And it's a lot. I've been going for about an hour through these now, and I'm still in the first quarter of the section. So I'm gonna be honest, this is gonna push me pretty far behind. I think this is a lot of switchbacks, but I did just walk up on a very beautiful thing. Look at this cliff. Wow. I see my switchback cuts up there. My God. Not gonna lie, that does kind of make it better. Actually, after thinking about it for a second, I'm pretty tired. Check my mileage, I'm just under 10 miles. So I think I'm just gonna go ahead and stop for lunch. It's 11:30 now. Charge my phone for a minute. Eat some lunch. I got some tuna and crackers and some granola. So I'll eat me a little lunch, get me a little food on my belly, and just look at this beautiful view. Could you really ask for a much better spot to take a lunch break? Alright everyone, well, I'm done with my lunch now, so I'm about to hop back on trail and get back after it. 10 down, 10 to go, baby. I don't know if you can see through the trees there, but that's a gorgeous view. Hopefully we'll get around to a place without any tree cover and we can really take it in. Well, it's 1:30 now and I just found the trail again. I came up on where somebody camped last night and I couldn't find the trail past that point. So I used my GPS and went the way of the trail, and I just kept going over it, and I never did find the trail until now. But I'm glad, because the leaf coverage is so thick in most spots. If you step, you're sinking at least 10 deep, and it's so hard. to walk through that, much less make any kind of distance through that. Well, it's just after 2 o'clock. I'm almost 15 miles in, but not quite. I'm just over 14. But we're trucking along. Haven't had the bushwhack in a minute, so that's been a good thing. I've been able to put some miles behind me. As you can see, it's getting on into the day though. But that's alright. I still think we're going to be able to make camp before dark. And then have a nice little stroll out of here along the creek in the morning. Getting a little low on water. Need to fill up, but I haven't seen a water source in a minute. Probably 10 miles or more. But I'm coming up. I'm getting lower, so I should come up on the creek. A few miles maybe. We'll see. Hit 15 miles. Whoop whoop. It has been a long day. I've been wearing my Merrell Moab 2 ventilators today, and they've been performing well, but I'm not gonna lie, my feet hurt. I can definitely tell that I need a good pair of Ultras because A, the end of my toes hurt from going downhill so much. I didn't know about sizing up when I first got these boots. I have the boot version, by the way, not the shoes. Should have went with the shoe. But anyway, so my feet hurt, and I can also have a hot spot on the side of my big toe and my pinky toe. I'm going to stop here in just a minute and leukotape up. But that goes to show that I need a wider toe box because my toes really like to splay out, especially on this technical terrain on these switchbacks, which we're still not done with, by the way. We're still trucking. I checked the map. I'm about halfway through the stretch, but I'm done with the worst of it. The worst part of it was on up above me, so it should be fairly easy sailing from here on out. Well, found my water source. Just a random creek and bridge out in the middle of the woods. Well, that's awesome. The trail provides, as they say. Been following this creek for about the past mile or so. I suspect I'm going to follow it all the way down to the fork and then take the fork all the way up to Randolph Trailhead. But we will see. So it looks like we have ourselves a creek crossing we have to do. The trail is over there, I do believe. So I'm going to walk down that tree, jump down, take off my shoes and socks, and scoot on across. Good thing we got to this now and not after dark. Got the boots off, got the pants rolled up. Let's boogie on across this thing. Ooh, that's cold. Nice and cold. I figured out with my creek crossing this morning, when it's so cold like this, just get across it. Because the longer you're in it, the worse it's gonna get. And this morning, oh my God, it was painfully bitter cold. Which, not gonna lie, it doesn't really feel much cooler now. It's just cooler outside, so it's not as bad. But damn, that water is cold. But anyway, I need to get my gear back on, so. And there we go. Got the boots on, pants rolled down, ready to get back after it. So let's knock out some more miles before dark. This old bridge at Borden Creek, apparently. Got a horse trail entry. Our trail continues that way. 20 miles, let's go. Well, we got our mileage, but I'm not where I want to be, like in the woods. I want to be closer to the trailhead before I stop and make camp. So that way I don't have a super long, hard walk tomorrow, because I know today I'm gonna be sore tomorrow. So I'm gonna keep going for now. Stop right before dark and take a break, and then start night hiking and get closer to the Randolph trailhead on the Sipsey Wild 209 trail. So we'll see you guys on down there. That right there is what is known as a BFC. Big freaking cave. I've come up on what is known as Fat Man Squeeze, and it is pretty cool area, actually. Oh my. Oh my. It really seems like you shouldn't be through here. And the guy. The guys told me that I see light. Oh my. I see light. Wow. Wow. That is crazy. So I had to lay down and crawl. Ain't no fat man squeezing through there. I don't care how hard he tries. So after further consideration, I probably should have taken my pack off, crawled through, and then pulled my pack through behind me, rather than trying to go with the pack and run the risk of getting stuck out here by myself. So whenever you take solo trips backpacking, you really have to make the smart decision and think about things before you do them. But good thing everything worked out all right, and I'm perfectly fine. Good morning, everyone. So this is where I set up camp last night. It's a nice campsite. I pitched my tent right over there, firing right here, but no fire for me. I ended up hiking 25 miles yesterday. I night hiked till about 7 o'clock last night until I came to this campsite, and I was just dead. It's actually within a half a mile of where I wanted to be camp out anyway. So I was like, hey, happy here. I've never camped here before, so it all worked out. I got my feet taped up with some Luco tape. Got a few blisters showing up, so got my feet taped up and got about a 6-mile hike out this morning. So got sore feet and a happy heart. What more could you ask for? One creek crossing today. One frigid creek crossing. That's gonna suck. majorly, but I'm gonna take my shoes off for it, so that way I can put them back on and warm up, because I know that's the only one, and then it'll be easy trails from there on out. It's actually the same route out that I took in my last video, so it'll be all same type of stuff there. So we'll catch you on, guys, on down at the creek crossing. So this trip has been my first experience with night hiking, and that experience has been that I like night hiking, but I don't like hiking all day and then night hiking. When I'm exhausted and I'm already beat, and I just don't care for that, because then I'm already tired, so I'm not on my A game. So it becomes a lot easier to make mistakes when you're tired. And at night, it's very easy to lose the trail. And whenever you lose the trail at night, you're like, oh crap, because you're out in the middle of the woods with a limited amount of light. If you plan on doing a lot of night hiking, I'll make sure to bring spare batteries, which I have a Black Diamond 350 spot, and it still has 3 battery, and I night hiked with it for 2 hours last night and then used it a lot at camp, so I'm actually very happy with the battery life on that. I did change out the batteries. It had fresh batteries in it because I had used a lot of the battery last night before night hiking. So, but it's especially in the areas that I normally travel, it's very easy to lose the trail, especially at night. And things are dangerous. Things can get very dangerous when you get off trail at night, because a lot of times there are places where the trail is in that specific spot for a reason. Like yesterday when I was up on those ridge lines, the trail were in those spots for a reason. And if you weren't on the trail, you were essentially post holing in sticks and leaves. And that can get dangerous. It's very easy to break a leg or something. And then at night, you can't see that. So, if I'm fresh, I don't mind night hiking. Like when I night hiked in Friday night. But I don't care for hiking all day and then night hiking. I think I'd rather just get my hiking done in the day. So, just got to train some more and pick up my speed. Sorry about the lighting if it was crazy for a while, but I just got to train some more, and then I can pick up my speed, and to the point that I will be able to hike 20 miles in a day, 25 miles in a day, which I hit 20 in daylight, but 25 miles still in daylight, that would be nice. But still got plenty of time for that. Plenty of time until my first through hike. Yesterday and last night was one of the most exhausting days of my life. I've never covered that much distance in a single day in my life. I was so exhausted by the end of it that last night I woke up and my buff had managed to get pulled up completely over my face, because when it's cold out, I sleep with my buff over my nose and use it as a face shield to keep my face warm. And it had only got pulled completely over my face, but the moonlight was still shining in, so I could see. And I could see the thin mesh over my face because of that thin buff fabric. Well, I remember thinking now, and thinking back on it, I'm like, what? I remember thinking that I had my bug head net on. And I'm like, oh, okay. And like, I just remember laying there thinking that somebody had to have came in my tent and put my bug head net on me. But I was so exhausted, I didn't even care. I was just like, thanks, person, and went back to sleep. In my head, I didn't say it, of course. But I was just thinking like, thanks, person, and went back to sleep. It's like they obviously didn't mean any harm if they just put a bug head net on me. Well guys, we made it to our creek crossing, so let's get ready and go. Oh man. Well, I guess that works. So let's get on across this thing. That's cold. Hey, I made it out the water on some rocks. Guess what? That wasn't any better than the last 3 times I've had creek crossings on this trip. But we made it. So let's get on down the trail, get our shoes on, and warm up. We have got our feet cleaned off a little bit, and we are headed back out. So I have noticed, I think the cause of the blisters may be getting my feet sandy from the creek crossings and then not cleaning them well. Because I mean, there's only so much you can do. I wiped my feet with my hands until my hands got all sandy, and then I wiped my feet with leaves, and it just kind of stuck because everything's damp. So it is what it is. I forgot how brutal this ascent was. I'm on the ascent out of the creek bed, and crap, it is kicking my butt this morning. But no pain, no gain, right? We have made it past the ascent, and it's easy walking from here on out, guys. Well, as you see, we have made it to the road out. So we are at the end of our journey, guys. It's gonna end up being about a 32 to 33 mile trip overall. Great time. Got my first 25-mile day in. Feeling great. So it was a pleasure having you guys along, and we'll see you on the next one.